How's that? Oh, that's really, sorry. I wouldn't wear a mic, except that if I don't do that, then it won't record online. And it won't pick up anything, and then the live recording is not worth it. So, thank you, first of all, for coming tonight and being here for this important mission trip meeting. I have a lot of information to share with you and also still a lot of questions. So it's a fun place to be because it is May, what do they say, May-cember? But it's also a ways until we leave on this trip, right? So there are some details still being finalized. So let's start with prayer, and then we will get into our details. God, we give you thanks for the relationships that are just such a crucial part of what we're doing and why we're here tonight. The relationships among the youth, among the adult leaders, among those that we are soon to meet up on the North Shore that we will walk alongside and do our best to try to understand and help in some way. We ask that you be with us tonight as we have conversations about this upcoming trip. Ease our minds and help us to be focused and centered right now, even during the busy month of May, so that we can think about the fun that is to come with this mission trip and the ways that we will grow in our faith. I ask that you be with us in all of the details as we continue to plan and prepare for this trip. Help it to be a reflection of your love, and also for us to be your hands and feet in the world. And mostly that these youth would know that they are a beautiful creation and made perfectly in your image, that they are a child of you, and that they don't need to be anything that they're not, that they would learn and grow through this trip, that they truly are created beautifully. So thank you for all the youth that are attending this trip, and raise up the adult leaders that need to be present for this experience. And we just give you thanks for this day. In your name we pray. Amen. So as you walked in, you had, hopefully you grabbed your specific sheet with some financial information, and also the packet with the green form. So the lengthy packet that you have is a product of wanting to be diligent about these trips. So first of all, I'm going to share, this was sort of interesting to look through today. We have, well actually, okay, I'll give you one update first. We have 29 youth. For those of you that are seniors, Ellie Chalk dropped out today. So I'm sad, we'll not have her with us. So if you are the one that has been on, I'm going to start at the bottom. You've been on the most trips. It was going to be you and Ellie. There's 2 that have been on 4 or 5 trips. So Sophia Grant, and then there's 9 of you that have been, this is your 3rd trip. There's 7 of you that this is your 2nd trip, and 12 of you that this is your very first trip. We have 8 freshmen, 2 sophomores, 14 juniors, and 5 seniors now. So it's kind of cool to just know the stats. In a little bit, you're going to get this packet that has a list of everybody that's going along on the trip. And so you'll get, each kind of see who's going on the trip based on who's here, but you'll have it written down. One of the things that's very important and our top priority with these trips is obviously safety. We would not be able to continue doing them if we did not hold that in highest regard, right? Because we recognize the fact that you are entrusting your son or daughter to go with us on this experience, and it's really important that we are diligent about the details of the trip, which includes topmost safety. So there are things that you might do when you are on a family trip that you would not do on this mission trip, because we are a larger family unit, and anything that we do impacts everybody in our group, right? So an example of this is we're in Belize, and we're swimming in this watering river waterfall area, right? And there were some kids that wanted to do some cliff jumping, and we would not let them do it, and it was some disappointment, right? Because anything that is a high risk like that will impact our entire group, right? If somebody were to get hurt in a situation like that, then it all of a sudden changes the dynamic and the schedule of the entire crowd, right? So there's things like that. But also in your packet, in the one that you picked up, there's some specifics about clothing, specifics about behavior, right? Now, a lot of times, this is just a no-brainer, okay? But I've found that if we don't say it, you can't expect it to be known, even if you think that you've got the best of the best, right? So this is spelt out to the best of our ability, and I would love any feedback on this. You're sort of my extended youth team, right? We have a youth and family team that works on these things and that put this together a year and a half ago. But you are also my eyes and ears, right? To be able to say, gosh, you really should have this in your packet. Great, let me know those things. But we think it's pretty extensive for all, and this is the not fun part, right? We're getting the not fun out of the way, and then we'll get to the fun of the trip. But so that packet, you are required to sign the form and be in agreement with those things if your child is going to come on the trip. Some of it is in regard to what will happen if something, if rules are broken, right? Like, what are the understandings and agreements about when we would send a kid home? Now, let me be super clear that if there's any possession of tobacco, controlled substances, that's that first bullet point on page 3, I believe. If there's any abuse of OTC meds, sexual activity, this is a big one, number 4, if you're leaving the group on your own without prior approval or permission from the adult leaders. These we feel are serious enough that it would cause immediate sent home. Now, of course, every situation is going to be assessed on an individual basis, but we take this we go to play. Now, this year we're going to the North Shore. Last year we were in Chicago. The year before we were in Belize. Each situation is very different. There's inherent risk wherever we go, and yet there are certain things that we need to abide by when being with a group like this, because it's just different than a small family of 5, right? Here's an example of an exception to the rule. In 2020, when we were back in Denver, there was a student that came to me and said, we're staying at this Messiah Mountain Retreat Center, and it was just our group. We're way out in the middle of the mountains, and she said, I'd like to go for a walk. I'll listen for when you call us back. She came to me and asked permission and said, I'll stay within earshot and sort of eyesight. And I let her do that because I felt like it was an appropriate, breaking of the rule, right? I mean, in the situation, I'm going to assess some things, but you always need to come and talk to the adult leaders so that we are able to say yes or no to those things, right? So it's not that we're totally inflexible and you're going to, follow these rules to where you are miserable. No, it's the opposite. When we're all able to be healthy and safe, we're going to have a much better, happier time, right? Obviously, firearms, weapons, fireworks, explosives, also sexually explicit material. This even includes your clothing, right? No hazing, discrimination or pranks. So those are the major things and then I'm going to let you read the clothing policy, other important things to note. I'm not going to go through all of those, but I want you to feel comfortable with what you're signing, right? This isn't a thing that you just sign without reading. It's important that you read it first, both parents and kids. So, any questions about that? Not fun part, which allows us to have the fun. So the green sheet you need to leave with me today. Now, I would like you to take one of these and pass, and I think I did one per student, so parents look on with your kids. Hopefully you're sitting together. While those are being handed out, let me talk a little bit about your financial sheet. On that sheet you will notice if you made a deposit for this trip, that is listed on there. I think it says Mission Trip 25 deposit. It's $100. If that is not on your sheet and you think you paid it, we need to talk, right? Something got missed somewhere. We are all human, but we will need to look back at that and make sure we have documentation for the deposit. If you haven't paid the deposit yet, it's okay. I have not tracked you down. It's just that you're going to make it a part of your trip payment coming up, right? So also on there are, if you have gone on multiple trips, this is your whole youth account history. So some of them go on to the back. If you have sold equal exchange, that is listed as EE. Okay, that's what that stands for. And there are continued opportunities for you to do that on Sunday mornings if you would like to. And I guarantee that you will make $20 on a Sunday if you come and sell, regardless of how much you sell. If you sell a bunch more because you email or call family and say, I'm doing this, and you will make what you sell, but you will make at least 20. I just got a call this morning from a woman that regularly buys coffee for the food shelf, and so when I get those, then I'm able to supplement on Sundays when you don't have as many sales, right? So if you show up, you sign up, and I just noticed the other day my sign up there's no Sundays left to sign up for, but any Sunday, even if you're here and you haven't signed up, if you don't see anybody at that table and you want to get back there and try to, sell some coffee, tea, that sort of thing, you will make $20. You just need to do the documentation and make sure anything that's brought in is put in the safe, okay? And if you have questions about that, let me know. Other things on that financial sheet, do you have anything that's like, this doesn't make sense? And that also has so the distribution for, this is my lovely spreadsheet from the fundraiser. How fun is that? This has all of your hours that you worked, whether you sold tickets, whether you brought a dessert, if for donations, set up your hours on the 16th, parent hours, if you did anything afterwards, and then the total hours that people put in was 360, calculated with the amount raised. You made just about $24 an hour if you for that volunteer time, and then that gets calculated and put into your youth account. So now Vicki is working on distributing that fundraiser money into your account. If you have any questions about that total, I can talk with you about it since I have this printed out. So any finance questions before we get to trip info? Seems so quiet. Okay, so we're going to the North Shore. I am organizing this trip on my own, and so part of that is that I don't have all of there are several contacts that have been made. The 2 service sites, or the 2 days of our service that are secured and set, are Wednesday and Thursday. We are serving at the Damiano Center. Both of those days, if you were on the North Shore trip in 2022, it was one of our favorites. And pull out your phone quick. Right now, yeah, see who's listening. Get your phone out, put in Damiano Center, Duluth. Max is like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And I think it's events. What's the second? I'm going to look on with Max here. Go to the hamburger and then go to, programs. Our picture is on their website. Maybe it's totally different on the phone. Anyway, our group from 2022 is our group photo is on their website. I thought it was under, if you find it, let me know. But it's on one of it's easier to see on a computer versus a phone. But our whole group photo is on there, and that was our probably the place that we loved the most when we served back there. That might be some of them. But it's actually, that's our group, yeah. But there is one, yeah, there it is. Did you find it? Anyway, I just thought it was really fun when I was going out to their website today, and the fact that we're going back to this location to serve. So this is a wonderful organization in Duluth that works with all areas of those that lack adequate housing, right? So it is clothing, it is shelter, it is food, and so we will get to learn a little bit about what they do and also spend 2 days serving there. Okay, so let's back up now. Our showers are going to be at Bodies in Balance, the same place in 2022 in Two Harbors. It's a short little drive. It's like a workout facility. So there are separate stalls, and we will get a key fob, and we will just go. When we have a shower time set aside, I know this is always one of the biggest questions. You're like, why is she talking about showers right away? It's because it's one of the number one things I get asked. Will we get showers, and where are they? And so we'll have a little key fob, and we will get to decide when is convenient for our shower time, and then an adult will say, I'm heading up to the showers, who needs to go? We'll take 4 or 5, and they'll go up to that shower facility. Lodging will largely be at Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Two Harbors. Excited to say that this is Pastor Ben Stewart is still there, and it's fun because it's Bjorn's uncle, so it's pretty cool that we have a family connection this year. He is in Norway right now, which I just discovered. I had sent him a few emails and hadn't heard back, and I was like, what is going on? So I finally texted him, and he said, oh, I'm taking a boat to Oslo in the morning, but what questions do you have? So anyway, we are working on some service opportunities through Emmanuel Lutheran, but if you remember Pastor Ben, he is going to be coordinating that stay at Emmanuel. There's a chance that we will either be at Bethlehem in Grand Marais or possibly a hotel up there. It depends on how our service stuff falls into place. I will send you a finalized schedule as it gets closer to the trip. So now we're looking at Saturday. We're going to meet here July 26th at 10 a.m. Bring a sack lunch with you in your luggage. We will get loaded up. We'll circle up and do a goodbye and a prayer, and then we'll hit the road. We will go to Two Harbors to Emmanuel Lutheran, do some team building orientation, but also do some grocery shopping, and we will cook all of our own meals, except maybe 1 or 2, depending on the situation, at the actual church that we stay at. So we use their kitchen, all their supplies. The nice thing about this is, since we've been there before, I don't need to go scout. I went and scouted it back in 2022 to see what supplies they had, right? I already know that what's there and that they have, adequate for us to be able to use. So we'll do our grocery shopping. Each night we will most often make our own meal, and we'll have teams that will do this. We will have an evening activity, and we will do worship, okay? Sunday, we will get up and then go to 9 a.m. worship at Emmanuel, and then there are 2 options depending on what happens with the service things that fall into place. We will either stay in Two Harbors and then serve at Emmanuel and be there, or we will drive after church up to Grand Marais and be in Grand Marais for Monday. Now, there's a chance that there is some service that we will do there. We might stay at a hotel, we might stay at Bethlehem. We might spend that day hiking, depending on how the service stuff falls into place. So Monday might end up being sort of a fun / team, extended group building, right? Like experience on Monday. And then Tuesday, same thing. Monday we would come. So if we are there just for one night, my thought is that we will leave all of our stuff at Emmanuel in Two Harbors, go up and stay in a hotel in Grand Marais, have the day of hiking, maybe a little bit of service, and then we come back and stay at Emmanuel so that we don't have to bring our sleeping bag, ground pads. Like, it's a lot of work to pack all that stuff up. So if you have some sort of a cinch or a shower sack, a small backpack, that's what you would bring for the one night up at the hotel, and we'll leave everything else back at the other church, okay? Tuesday will be a service day. But I'll have most likely something at Emmanuel in Two Harbors. Then Wednesday and Thursday we will serve at Damiano Center, and then Friday will really depend on if we've had that hiking day on Monday or if it's a service day. It'll flip-flop based on what we end up, how those service opportunities fall into place. Neighbor to Neighbor Thrift Store in Two Harbors is a place that we served back 3 years ago. It was a great organization to work with, so I'm waiting to hear back from them. The reality is all these places largely are volunteer run, and I don't hear back from them within a week even sometimes, right? It takes multiple contacts. And I'm not paying anybody else to do it, so that's the other side of it. And then Friday, like I said, it'll either be a service or a fun day, and then Saturday we will come back and be back in the afternoon. If you have any schedule conflicts or things that I need to know about for your family, whatever, vacation, sports, whatever, I need to know that now. So please make sure you send me an email giving me specifics of what I need to know, okay? So a general packing list, I'm not going to go through that, but please make sure that you pack and then take out a fourth of it if you are an overpacker. You will not need as much as you think. Here's my policy typically. I have my shorts and t-shirt, bra and underwear all rolled up into one little thing, and showers are never going to be in the morning, okay? So you get up, if you need to do something to freshen up, whether it's a washcloth bath or stick your head under the sink, you can do that. We serve, that's largely you get sweaty, dirty, whatever. We have our showers in the evening. I will put on the clothes that then I'm going to wear the next morning for my service site. Like that's a way that you can limit how much you're packing. Now, there are times that you want to have longer pants, right? So just be mindful of how much you're packing, because we can't take we're expecting that you pack in a travel-size suitcase, right? And then you have your sleeping stuff. So your sleeping bag it's easier to pack separate sleeping bags than it is to pack huge suitcases, right? So a carry-on or a duffel bag with all your stuff, and then a sleeping bag, sometimes the ground pads are separate, or an air mattress. If you are going to sleep on an air mattress with a friend, then you can have a double, but you can't have a double by yourself, okay? So whether it's a ground pad that you have, or, you're welcome to sleep on the floor, but largely it's carpet like this, or sometimes tile, so I encourage you to have something to sleep on, because you'll sleep better, to have some padding. But there are great ground pads out there. We can't bring cots and stuff, we just don't have room, so as much as you can do to help us pack light is great. Let's see, you're not bringing any electronics, blow dryers, curling irons, all those sorts of things. Look at the clothing policy for stuff. So at our service sites, we're wearing t-shirts and not wearing any tank tops in the evening time. You can wear wide strap tanks and full tank tops. At the service sites, it's important that we try to dress as modestly as possible, because we are not sure who we're working with, what the situation's going to be, what sort of work we're going to be doing. So t-shirts and shorts that are at your fingertips. I know this has been the struggle, probably the biggest conversation. I don't know if anybody's that's gone on a past trip, willing to say something about this. It's easier than you think. There's plenty of stuff out there that you can get, like sport shorts that are a little bit longer. You can cut off old jeans or sweatpants. You can wear leggings. You can wear, like capri leggings. And I know this is largely for the girls, but it is what it is. But what questions do you have about clothing? Do not go out and buy a bunch of stuff, please. That is not what this is for. Go thrifting there are a lot of great thrift stores around that have good options, or take something that you have and make it work. Like I said, cut something off. And they don't have to be at your knees. I will wear some stuff that's like mid-leg, but we just don't want the real shorts, short shorts, okay? It is up to you if you want to bring your cell phone. You do not have to. You will not have it during the week. You will have it during the travel up and the travel back, which is kind of fun for some photos, games, music, that sort of thing. But then once we arrive at the church in Two Harbors, we'll collect them all and put them safely. Now, I will say you bring them at your own risk. Even though we are collecting them and we're going to do everything in our power to keep them safe, I will not guarantee that someone's not going to break into the church and steal them, right? So if you bring it with, you understand that you're bringing it at your own risk, okay? But of course, we are going to do everything in our power to keep them safe. We will have them together, and I will make sure that they are locked and they are put away, and I've never had an issue. But it's just something that I have to say. Bring a charge cord if you bring a phone, because you will want it charged for the end, and I cannot charge 30 phones on my one charge cord. So if you bring it with and you want to use it for the way home, you need to be able to charge it before we head out, okay? Questions about packing? I know for a lot of you, you've done this before. Any input, advice? Past trippers? This seems less important when we're in state, and we're not traveling, but also we have to fit in our vehicles, so in that regard, at this, we'll make a transition to a little sales pitch. Jeannie Schansberg is here for sure. Is Leslie here? Leslie's not here. So Leslie Burscheid and Jeannie are the two that have talked to me that said that they are willing to be adult leaders again and go on our trip. We need more. So we absolutely, per our guidelines, have to have an adult of each gender, and so I do need at least one adult male to go on the trip. I've never had to recruit hardcore before for mission trips. It's sort of just fallen into place. I mean, gosh, when we went to Belize, we had 20 adults that came with us and 35 youth. So if you have had any sort of inkling, gosh, maybe I should, talk to Kirsten about going on the trip, I would really love to have a conversation with you. It does not commit you. I can almost guarantee it'll be one of the best weeks of your summer. There's no way that I would get these adult leaders back summer after summer after summer if that weren't the case. If they hated it, they would never show up again. And the same is true for most volunteer things here at Church with Kids, right? Our confirmation guides, it's the same thing. I mean, I've had some that are in their 9th year of helping because it's just that rewarding. Is it easy all the time? No. Does it challenge you and make you grow? Absolutely. It's one of those things that if you ever get an opportunity in your lifetime to do, I'd strongly encourage it, because there's just, you don't always get these opportunities, right? So here's your chance. Talk to me about if you're interested in being an adult leader. We do have to have more adults in order to take the trip. So that's just, I will continue to be praying for it and praying about it and having conversations with people. I'm constantly doing that. But if you have other ideas of anyone that I should talk to, I'd love to talk to other people as well. Well, so of course there are factors here, right? How many we can fit in vehicles. So if you are a person that really likes to see the organization in numbers, the very back sheet is one of my planning spreadsheets for how I figure out. I've never given you this before. My computer is filled with these sorts of Excel spreadsheets, but I printed it out this time because I thought it would be interesting for you to see kind of how I think about mileage and meals and different stuff like that, right? So at the very bottom, it's about 290 miles to Grand Marais. I know we're going to go up at least that far and have to come back that far. My guess on the other, I just rounded up to 750. So then a Chrysler minivan has a 19-gallon tank and gets 19 average gallons to the mile. So about 360 gallons on a tank of gas. And right now it said the average in Minnesota is $3 a gallon. I put it up to $3.15, so about $60 a fill. We do 2.5 fills per van. So here's the thing. This calculation is 6 minivans. We would need 6 drivers. Now, if we were to rent they don't rent 15-passenger vans anymore like they did when I started these trips. They do 12. So there's a possibility that we could have 12 passenger vans. The thing about those vehicles is they have very little room for luggage. It's more like you're going to fit 9, and then the back seat is, well, sometimes 3 or 4, is going to be for our duffel bag suitcases, et cetera, right? Because if we can fit all the people, but we can't fit the luggage, we're out of luck. So it has to be a both and. So really this depends on how many adults we have, how many drivers do we have, because even if you're 18, you cannot drive like you are a youth on this trip. Let me stress that. If you are a senior and you are already 18, you are still a youth on this trip. I will ask certain leadership stuff for sure of those of you that have been on trips before or that are older, but we have to, you have to be at least 21 to be an adult leader on our mission trip. So it really will depend on how many adult leaders we have, what we end up renting for vehicles, if anybody drives their own vehicle and we pay them mileage, all those sorts of factors, right? So I know it's as clear as mud, but there's a lot of gray. There's still a lot. You can all be praying about this trip and that all the logistics and details fall into place. And before this, June 8th through the 12th, I'm leading the very first 7th and 8th grade mission trip. So all those details are being organized as well, and I will be on that trip first. So I don't have an answer to, we could take myself and 5 others. We could take, if we had 2 12-passenger vans, we could probably be okay with 4. We had 5. Mine and 4 rentals. My pilot. Okay, so those are some of the important logistics, right? One thing I want to say about cost. So on the the third page, you see the cost estimate per person. I'm going to go back up to the things to note, but on page 3 it has that grid with the cost estimate. Our lodging at Two Harbors, I typically figure in $5 to $10 per person per night at the hotel. It's a really cheap way to have lodging, but we're still using their toilet paper, paper towels, water, et cetera, right? So we need to give them some money as a thank you, sort of a donation, really. Planning one night in a hotel, then you can see the gas, transportation, food, t-shirt, and some miscellaneous stuff. Now, this last thing, this is the first time that I've done this, where I've put the cost, and you can see how I got this number on that next page of the grid. Cost to cover the adults, not staff, so not me, and this is optional for you. So here's the thing. Any adult that on these continental U.S. trips, right? Not the international mission trips, but the continental trips, if an adult says, I am willing to go, we cover their cost because they are either taking a week off of work or if they're a teacher, they're taking a week out of their summer when they wouldn't have to. So that is, here's what you can read what I wrote about it, but you will get to choose whether you are able to pay. $390 is like the cost of the trip, right? Without that $60 for covering the cost of those, and that's for 5 adults. So if that's not feasible for you, you can pay the $390 minus whatever you fundraised, your deposit, that sort of thing. Everybody is expected to pay $100 for their deposit, minimum. But then what you do from there is really up to you. And far be it from me if you would like to make a $100 donation to our scholarship fund or our mission trip account and have that as a write-off, we will always welcome that, right? But essentially what I'm saying is that anything above $390, if you would like to write it as a separate check, it can be a write-off, it can be a donation, because essentially what you're doing is saying, I'm going to give this money to help cover the cost of the adults. We're not requiring it this year in the cost of the trip. And so I'm going to let each family choose that on their own. So now what you need to do is can I use yours as an example, Chrissy? Oh, yeah. You're going to take this sheet here, and whatever number is at the bottom, you're going to decide, I'm going to pay $450, I'm going to pay $500, I'm going to whatever, and deduct this from it. And if you would like to leave a check with me now, you can. If you need to write a $200 check now and you're going to pay me more later, whatever, you can email me however you would like to do it. We do need to have money in the bank to pay the bills, right? So in order to pay for all the different things for the trip, we have to have the cash. So I encourage you to pay at least some of it now if you have a balance due. If you overpay and the trip ends up being less than we think, your youth account is yours for the entire time. If you have an older sibling that has no longer in high school, you might see that it says, like Alex's, my 9th grader, has Ben Kelly remainder or something on it, so any money that was left in Ben's account got passed down to him, which was like $90. If you are the youngest in your family, I would encourage you to be more specific, because if there is money left over in there, it will go into our scholarship account. We don't write a check back unless for some reason you cancel a trip or there's some extenuating circumstances. But typically it's less than $100, and that helps build our scholarships, our paying for adult leaders to go, all that sort of thing, right? So, questions about finances? I know it's a lot of details. Sorry, Jill. There is an online option. The thing I will say is that it takes us a couple months to get it. It goes into, so the check is the fastest way that our youth account will get the money. If you go through Vanco, which you can totally do, it has to pass from our general account to the youth account, and it just takes some time, bookkeeping. But you can absolutely do it that way. If you pay with a credit card, there's no processing fee. Back up. If you pay with a bank account, like you're taking it from your checking, if you do automatic withdrawal already for giving, then there's no processing fee. If you use a credit card, there is a small fee that we ask you to cover. Got those mixed up. That is the bulk of the logistics. Youth, I'm so excited that each and every single one of you are coming on this experience. It's really awesome to see how the ministry and program has grown, and how those of you that have come on trips keep coming back and provide some great leadership. I am going to ask you to step outside your comfort zone, and everybody will help lead things at certain times, right? Whether it's meals, worship, you'll do things as a group. One of the things that I put a lot of care and time into is forming the small groups, but you will not be with your best friend. There will be small groups of anywhere from 4 to 5 probably with this group, depending on how many adult leaders we have again, right? Because there's one adult leader and a group of 4, 5, 6 kids. And I will look tirelessly and probably have 30 different formations of these groups based on whether you've gone on a trip before, if I know you're dating somebody, which I'll ask around, if you have what grade you're in, what your personality type is. If you are, I'm not going to put all the talkers in one group, right? So I'm going to try to balance it out as much as I can. So this is something that I put a ton of care and time into, because I know how important it is for, the success of the week. So if there is something, that being said, if there is something that nobody knows that you think I should know as I consider those groups, I encourage you to tell me. And it's not going to, unless it's something that involves your safety, which I am a mandatory reporter, but if it is something that it will be kept confidential, right? Does that make sense? Like if it's something regarding your safety and there is a relationship where you are being hurt, I cannot keep that quiet. But if there is something that you would like to tell me for this group formation, I would love to hear it, because it helps me be better mindful. And even if it's a thing like we are oil and water, I don't need to tell that to anybody, but I would love to make these groups as best they can be. Now, I'm also going to challenge you to step outside your comfort zone if you have someone that you struggle with. Now, it may not be the best idea to have you in a group with them, though, and you're going to, we'll still have a lot of time in large group, right? So there's going to be a lot of fun things on this trip, a lot of great. Raise your hand if you've never been past Duluth on the North Shore. Has everybody been further up? Awesome. Well, maybe, yeah. Has anybody never been to Grand Marais? We have some experienced Minnesota travelers. I love it. Raise your hand if you've never been to Devil's Kettle. Judge Magny State Park. That's past Grand Marais. So you may not know. Okay, so we're going to take you on some new experiences, and this time around try to get to some different, we didn't stop at any state parks back in 22 when we went, so I'm excited to do, and that'll be one thing, we'll have to have day passes or stickers depending on how many we go to, but if you look at a map, I mean, there are so many great state parks on the way. Temperance is fabulous hiking. We could go all the way up to Pigeon Falls and hike around there, which is at the border, the Canadian border. But anyway, there's so much that we can explore and do. And that's part of this, is just getting you to experience new things, right? You're going to be pushed outside your comfort zone. You're probably going to do things that you never dreamed you would do, such as even like not shower for an entire day. So just be flexible. I always joke that it's all about the F word, flexibility. And be willing to be patient, because in a group there's going to be times when you have to wait, right? And just know that it's going to be a lot of fun and we're going to have a great experience. So, questions? I know I always throw so much at you and it feels so businesslike and not fun, but I wish we had all the time in the world to do like a gathering, with just the youth, but this is sort of how it goes. It's probably not going to be until July that we are all together. So I encourage you to come to stuff at church, to continue to stay involved and get connected as things come up. Be here at worship even. If there's something that you would like to see happen at church between now and our trip, just let me know. We've talked about a volleyball, like a sand volleyball night, couple nights a month, so I love it when you all take initiative to say this is what we want to have happen. Okay, stick around for questions. 45